something to focus on. I don't want you to feel conspicuous or anything. I'll look right over your head.
There's the door, maybe ask them.
I mean, the nose just almost looks like
So start to get set up. Those of you at home, we're using straps today, so if you can get a strap handy and grab whatever you need. So if you need, so Louise, turn the other way. Turn your mat. Yeah, because I'm facing this way because there's a few more people today. So you can be right there. There you go. So start to sit comfortably, whether you're at home or here in the studio. It is Thursday, May 27th, right? Sounds right. Close enough. So get comfortable. You know, sit up on blankets if you're more comfortable to sit up on blankets too. Or if you're in a chair like I am, just make sure your feet are hips distance apart and parallel. Close your eyes real easily now. Start to feel your breath coming in and going out through your nose. Accepting your breaths in and out and imagining that you're breathing equally in and out through both sides of your nose. You can just easily feel like you're lengthening up through the top of your head so you have space in your spine. On your next exhale, let your hands just gently come to meet right in front of your chest. And let's inhale the hands right up through the midline. Doesn't matter how high up you go with your hands. They can go just barely above your head. And then as you exhale, let them come back down. So again, inhaling, letting your hands rise on up through the midline. And on the exhale, letting them come on back down. Sorry, I gotta hook up here. And then one more time, inhaling, letting your hands rise on up through the midline. And on the exhale, letting them release on back down in front of your chest. And let's release our arms down beside us here now. Take a nice inhale. And as you exhale, twist to your left. Let yourself come around, bringing, if your right hand wants to come to your left knee, you can. Or you can bring your hand more to the midline of the body. It depends on you and how you're sitting too. But just lengthen up, feel your chin parallel to the floor. And now, on your next inhale, let that back left arm just rise up as high overhead as you can. So you find just a little more space through the left side of the body there. And on your next exhale, lower the arm on back into the twist again. One more inhale. And on the exhale, we're going to come back through center and we're going to go all the way around into the other direction. So again, let your back adjust. Find that twist in the middle of the back. And then if you can inhale your right arm out and up overhead. Now, don't go any higher than your shoulder lets you. Let it feel good. Just find a little more length there through the right side of the body. And as you exhale again, lower that arm back down, coming back into the twist. So you let that right arm come where it was. One more inhale here. And on the exhale, come on back around into center again. Letting your arms come on out beside you. Let's inhale both arms all the way out and up overhead. And on our exhale, bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. And see if you can let your chin come down towards your chest. Release your head forward. And then as you inhale, let yourself look forward. Let the hands rise up. Now, if you can keep looking at your hands as they come up again, a little above your head or even higher, then do. And when you exhale, let the hands come on back down. And then unfold your arms on down beside you. Shake your hands out a little bit. Open and close your hands. If you're cross-legged on the floor, switch the cross. Bring your other leg in front if you can, so you even out your hips there. And if not, keep your legs long if you need, feet on the floor. And then let's inhale the arms straight on out from the shoulders, like a T position, so that you're reaching out through your fingertips here now. And then rotate your hands to face palms upward. And bend your elbows and let your fingertips come to touch the tops of your shoulders. And now as you inhale, bring your elbows forward. You might even touch them together. That depends on you. And when you inhale, let them open back out wide. So exhaling, bring the elbows forward, letting yourself enjoy that movement through the shoulders. And inhale, bring them back out. And then one more time, exhaling, bringing the elbows forward, and then letting them reach back out. And now, in any direction, circle your elbows. Doesn't matter, we're going to switch directions. So they can be tiny little circles. If your shoulders feel really sore, just do little circles. Or if you're like, oh, it almost feels better to get bigger and bigger, then get bigger and bigger with those circles. Good. And then we're going to stop so we can switch direction with the circles. So again, start little. And if you want to stay little, or get bigger and bigger and bigger if you want. Good, and the next time that you feel like your elbows are kind of coming down a little bit, leave them there and then unfold your arms on down beside you. And bring your hands forward and flex them for a second so you really feel your wrists, so your fingertips are facing up. And then rotate so that your fingertips face down towards the ground. So you press a little bit there. And then rotate back up again one more time. And then rotate back down again. Good. And then release your hands on down. Shake out, move through again your hands a little bit. Good. And then we're going to release into just a little bit of a seated forward bend. Now, if you're on the floor, just go a little ways if you want. Put your hands on the floor if you want to go that far and support yourself with a long back. Or if it feels really good to go farther forward, thinking of coming forward with that long back, go right ahead. You can put elbows above your knees in your chair. If you're okay to round once you get pretty far forward, to let yourself round a little bit as you come forward, do. That is not for everybody, but if it feels okay to you, do. And just enjoy finding that release for the hips and the back. Let your head hang. Feel that weight of your head. Good. And we're going to slowly rise on back up. And bring your feet a little closer together if you're in your chair. Let's all release our arms down alongside us. And we'll inhale both arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. And then go ahead and unfold your arms. Stretch your legs out for a second, whether you're in your chair or on the floor. And just let your feet circle slowly around a little bit. Just slowly. They can go the same direction if you're more comfortable doing that, right? Everybody's different. Just reverse directions, though, so that you go both ways with both feet, right? Take your time. Release a little bit there. We're going to make our way around towards our hands and our knees. And you know you do not want to be on your knees if your knees bother you to be on the floor on your knees. So you can use a chair underneath your hands, or you can have fists, or you can hold the edge of a seat of a chair. Or, you can come down to your forearms if that feels even better, to get entirely out of your hands, right? So thinking of the spine here, so you want to be comfortable so you can really focus on moving through the spine. Find a bit of a neutral spine and take a nice inhale. And then when you exhale, draw your tailbone up under you and see if you can just round up into your back, really letting yourself find that cat pose with the tailbone dropping down. And on your next inhale, let your tailbone reach back and then up a little bit so the belly kind of melts down and then your ribs sink down a little. You can stay looking between your hands or a little forward, or if you want, you can look all the way forward if it doesn't bother your neck. It brings more into the back too. So just mindfully moving through. Don't do anything that feels uncomfortable. You can always go from neutral spine and just come a little bit into a kind of a little mini cat or a little mini cow, or, you know, if one or the other doesn't feel good, don't do it. Take your time and see if you can just feel a kind of a smoothness, right? That it just feels almost like snake-like to allow yourself to move through your spine, waking up the muscles alongside of your spine and letting yourself just ease your way through. We'll finish off the one that we're on, and then we'll make our way to that more neutral spine. And we're going to bring our left foot forward and our right foot back to find a lunge here. So, you know, be mindful as you do. Take your time. Make sure you're not, you know, letting yourself bring that left knee way out beyond your ankle. You want to stack your knee pretty much over your ankle and open up the back of that right leg. And it matters not how long of a stance you take. Just enjoy being where you are there. We are going to switch legs, and to do that, you can either step forward or backward, right? So you take your time, switch the way that feels good to you. And again, you've got that left heel directly behind your foot. You're really opening up the back of your leg there. Good. We are going to switch again. So take your time. This time, if you feel a little more, you know, really like you've got that pose pretty good and you want to lift a hand up, you can lift your left hand or forearm up to your thigh. You don't need to. You can keep both hands down. And we will switch again, bringing the hand down if it was up and stepping that left foot back. And remember, it is like you're on narrow railroad tracks. And the idea of lifting that right hand or forearm up, only if it feels good to you. Good. And then from here, let's bring our hands down, step forward, and come into standing forward bend. And if you have a chair there and you need more support, you can always grab a block to get up higher in your forward bend. You do not want your back to feel uncomfortable in a forward bend, right? Another good support for the back is to bend your knees and put your elbows above your knees, and that keeps your low back lengthened too. Or of course, you can bring your hands down to the chair or even down to the blocks, or let yourself kind of hang a little bit if it's comfortable to do so. And then just feel really soft in your face. Let your face relax. Let your jaw go. If moving your head around feels good, move your head around, right? So if you like to nod or shake your head a little bit, feel that weight of your head. See if you can follow your breaths all the way in and all the way out. Good. One more breath. And then we'll bend our knees, bring our hands to our hips. We're going to rise on up to standing. And let's inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. So take your time, kind of walk into your mountain pose a little bit. Step one foot up at a time. See if you can kind of feel like you're walking your feet into a good place. And you want your feet to be pretty parallel so that rather than your toes turning out like this, which is pretty typical, try to get your toes facing forward. And then get to where you can bend both your knees and bring your hands to your hips for a second. And think about this, the movement that you have in your pelvis. So you can tuck your tailbone forward, which if I turn sideways, you're going to see what that does to people's backs, right? Or Or you can let your belly kind of hang out, and then you have that really kind of sway back. So there's this place where your tailbone drops down, right between your heels, a little bit maybe back from your heels, depending on how you're built. And then from there, if you can come into a little bit straighter legs, still feel the tailbone dropping down, and try to keep from tucking or releasing here in the belly, engage your belly just a little bit, and let yourself then bring your hands to your heart. So it's like your hips want to come over your ankles and your shoulders over your hips. Letting yourself just enjoy, bringing your gaze forward, whether your eyes are opened or closed, like you're looking out towards the horizon. And then we'll let our arms unfold on down beside us and inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, bend our knees and come forward into that standing forward bend. Again, hands where you like to be. Let your next inhale help you find a flat back. It's really like your back becomes like a tabletop. Flat back here. And we're going to step our right foot back and come into lunge. So take your time. Remember, hands can be whatever surface you like, the blocks, the chair, any height. And we'll come on into a downward facing dog pose from here. So down dog, whether your hands are up on a chair or down on blocks or the floor, you're still lengthening through your spine here. It's like you're reaching back through your tailbone. And your elbows, softly, you're going to hug a little bit towards each other so you feel a bit of comfort in your shoulders. And on the next inhale, come on out towards a plank. Now, if you don't want to do a full plank, full push-up pose, don't do it. You can come a little bit. You can come down to your forearms if you're on the floor. You can have your hands on blocks or the chair, or you can do little push-ups if you choose to. And then we'll come on back again to reach back through into our down dog. And if you need to adjust your feet as you come from plank to dog, do. And we'll bring our right foot forward to come into lunge from here. So if you need to put your left knee down to get there, or both knees down to get there, do. And then we'll come on back into standing forward bend. So feet right underneath us again. Again, use whatever support you need. Stack blocks up on your chair, or have your hands on the chair or the blocks. But if you can really, again, think of feeling the face, letting go. So just letting yourself feel really soft all through your face and all around your eyes, all around your mouth. And now feel the breaths coming in to expand your rib cage in all directions. So when you breathe in, you feel your ribs really expand side to side, front to back. And let the inhales and exhales be fairly even in length. And then we'll bend our knees and bring our hands to our hips. We're going to rise on up and inhale our arms all the way out and up. And let our exhale bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. Let's reverse our arms. Inhale our hands right up through the midline. On the exhale, open the arms. Bend the knees as you come forward to keep it out of your back. And on your next inhale, find a nice long back here. This time we'll step left foot back to find lunge. Good. And let's make our way again into that downward facing dog pose. So again, as you come back, lengthen back and think about that nice long spine here. Reach back through your tailbone and let your elbows hug towards each other. Good. We can walk a little bit in your dog. Bend a knee at a time. Let that long leg just get a little more chance to release through the back of your leg. And then come on back to your full dog, and on the next inhale, we'll come on out towards a plank. Again, you don't have to do a full push-up pose. If you feel like you want to put your knees down, you can do a half one if you're on the floor. You can come to your forearms. Let yourself feel like your sitting bones are reaching down towards your heels. Good. We're going to come back into down dog. Nice. And this time we'll bring the left foot forward to find lunge. all the way back into standing forward bend. Feet hips distance apart. Again, check your feet out. Parallel feet here. If you need to put your elbows above your knees, do it. But some of you I know like to really release and hold your elbows so that you hang, and if that feels okay in your back. Or you can put your hands anywhere that you want, right? Easy breaths, heavy head. Let go through your jaw. And we're going to bend both our knees, press into our feet, and rise on up to standing, and inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. Let's reverse the arms. Inhale the hands right up through the midline. On the exhale, come on forward, bend your knees. Your arms are like wings. They'll come on down to support you how you need. And let your next inhale help you find that flat back again. And this time we're going to walk into a downward facing dog pose, letting our hands be whatever height we want to be. And come on back. Remember, in down dog, you're free to bend your knees, right? So if you feel like it's too much to come into straighter legs, just let your knees bend. Focus on the length of the spine. You're still going to open up the backs of your legs. And on the next inhale, we'll come on out towards a plank. Now you can stay in plank, you can do push-ups if you want, or you can go into a back bend. If you want to come down to the floor and do a sphinx or a cobra, but it's not necessary to do any back bend at all. And then we'll make our way back into downward facing dog pose. So be easy. Feel both your hands for a second. Feel your elbows hugging in. Really be aware of your arms, your shoulders. And on the next inhale, we'll come on out to that plank again. And again, it is totally optional to come into any kind of back bend. You can let yourself come through and towards an up dog or a cobra. And then make our way back into downward facing dog pose. Good. This time, let's bring our right foot forward to find lunge. Whatever you need to do to get there, remember. And draw your shoulders down. Feel your whole body in this lunge, this pose here. Really feel the length down the back of the body. And we'll step forward and come into standing forward bend. So feet hips distance apart and parallel. Ease your way. Again, use whatever support you need so you're comfortable. You don't feel any sense of your back feeling uncomfortable at all. It's a stretch for the back, but you know you don't want pain, right? One more nice full breath. And then we'll bring our hands to our hips. We're going to bend our knees and rise on up to standing. And let's inhale both arms all the way out and up overhead. And let our exhale bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. Let's unfold our arms on down beside us. And bring your right arm all the way out and up overhead. And now flex your hands so your fingers turn towards the midline of your body. So you're pressing up into this outside, the heel of your hand, really. And then come over into a little side stretch. Let yourself just keep pressing up into the hand. Breathe into that side you're stretching. Good. And then come on back up to the top and bend that right elbow now. So the hand might be on the top of your head, right? Or it might be behind your head. It might be up on your upper back or behind your neck. And take your left arm, see if you can just fold it behind you, right? And you can fold it behind you just a little bit. Let it rest like where you just have the back of your palm on you there. You can think about working towards getting your hands closer together. Remember, this is a good one to do at home with a towel, you know, so that you can find mobility in your shoulders. If you do it every day, it makes a huge difference. We're going to release the arms on down. We're going to inhale the left arm up overhead. Turn the palm up and press up into the heel of the hand. And then come over into that side stretch. So breathing into the left side. Reaching into that, really pressing into the heel of your hand there. So space between the ribs. One more breath. And then we'll come up, and again, let that elbow bend. And we're all different. You know, if your shoulders is kind of not where you like it to be. Don't force it. Just put the hand where you can, up behind your head, let the elbow come out if you need. This right hand again can just gently rest, palm outwards, low down. That brings a little more into the right shoulder, and if you want to add more, you can send your hands, again, towards each other. They don't have to come close. There's a lot going on in the shoulders without even coming that far, for sure. One more breath. Keep your gaze forward. And then release. Let your arms come on down. Bend your knees and let your arms swing back and forth a little bit. And see if you can. Let your arms swing straight a few times. And then bend your elbows once when they come back, and the next time let them be straight. So you're just alternating, right? So you're just letting them swing though. It's really a swinging motion. It's not like you're placing your arms. It's that, you know, the momentum of once it gets going. It's real easy. Good. And then let yourself release. Shake out just a little bit. Move through your hands, your feet. And we're going to come into warriors. I'm going to turn my chair the other way. If you don't have a chair, make sure you have your blocks handy. And we're going to start off with warrior one. So coming towards the front of your mat, and you can always put your hands on your chair. It keeps you honest. Stepping your right foot back where it's turned out 20 or 30 degrees, and your shoulders are square towards the front of your mat. So you can step back 2 feet, less than 2 feet, 3 feet, 4 feet, right? You can go as long as you want with that back leg, but you do want your shoulders square. Your hips might not be if you're long in your stance. And then from here, just bring your arms forward. Let the palms face each other so the pinkies face down, the thumbs face up. And try not to round here in your upper back. Imagine you're kind of drawing your arm bones back into your shoulder sockets. And now as you inhale the arms higher, let them come wider, like a wide open V. Once you get up with your arms as high as you want, turn your pinkies in towards the midline of the body. And you might even decide you want to look up, feeling this lift right at the base of your shoulder blades. So the belly is engaged, there's length in the low back, and the lift is really right at the base of your shoulder blades. Good. So inhaling up the front of your body and exhaling down the back of your body. One more breath. And then lower your arms on down. And we're going to come into lunge. Now you can put your hands whatever height you want. Find a lunge for a second. Just let yourself release into your lunge here. Good. And now your hands are grounded either on blocks or on the chair. See if you can bring that right foot back down to the floor for pyramid so that you're now both legs are straight and you're turning your right heel inward a little bit. And you're coming into a nice flat back. And there you are working into the backs of your legs in your pyramid pose. So your thighs are lifting up towards your hips to create space in your knees, and that means you're engaging all the muscles around your knees. So they are straight, but you're engaging so that you don't overstretch. Good. And some of you might like to bow over that front leg. So if you do, you know, if it feels good to bend your elbows and come farther forward over your leg, do. If not, don't do it, right? Stay up higher. Good. One more breath. Now we're going to bend the front knee. And we're going to rise back to warrior one, bringing our hands back to our heart, letting your core body kind of lift you back up into your warrior one pose. Good, and then we'll bring our hands down. And we're going to turn our feet more parallel as we face the long edge of our mat. And you might want to grab your blocks to come forward into a wide-legged forward bend. So once you get your hands grounded on whatever you're going to use, you might want to let your feet change a little bit how far apart they are and bend a knee at a time as long as that's okay for your knees. And just really easily bend one knee at a time. Find those inner thighs, let it feel good. Good, and then come on back into center. And let your hands come out in front of you so that you have a nice flat back. I like to use the blocks for these twists, but you can have your hands on the floor. It's fine. And get your blocks just a little bit bit, or your hands or blocks a little bit closer together. So not to the outsides of your shoulders, more kind of to the insides of your shoulders, okay? And then bring your right hand to your right hip and start to roll that right shoulder up. Now if you can, put your palm straight down onto your low back, which adds to the shoulder, but that's up to you. Finding the twist in the middle of your back. Good, we're gonna bring that hand back down and we're gonna go the other side. So bringing the left hand up and just rolling that left shoulder up, finding that twist in the middle of the back. Good. One more breath. And then we'll bring the hand on back down. Now, take your time. You can bend your knees in this pose anytime you want. You can, if you want to get out of your hands, you can stack your blocks up and let yourself be supported without using your wrists, right? Some of you might want to fold all the way forward. If it feels fine to bring yourself into top of the head, releasing towards the floor, your hands back more towards between your feet, do it. If that feels bad in your back, you know you don't want to, so just be mindful. Easy breaths in and out. Feeling that expansion of the ribs as you inhale, and then feel how the ribs kind of come back in on your exhales. Good. One more nice full deep breath. And to rise up, you got to use what help you need. So if you need your hands on your thighs, if you need to bring your feet together before you get up, and if you are dizzy, be mindful. You can keep your feet wide a little bit. Take your time. If you need to hold on to a wall or a chair, do it. Or a friend, if you're in the middle. So let's grab our chairs if we're going to use them again. Turn them the way you want it. I'm just going to move mine around, but you don't need to move yours around. We're going to step our left foot back and find that warrior one. So again, you can take your time, get yourself into the stance where this back foot feels really comfortable, and it's on the floor, your heels slightly turned in so that you have that bit of a turnout in your leg. And then think about bringing your hands to your heart again. And then see about reaching your arms forward. Now, you know, if you have your chair there and you need to at any time, you can put your hand on it. We're going to rise the arms up into that wide V. If you need to put your hands down on the chair, use it. And you can, again, think of looking up a little bit if that feels okay to you. Remember, you don't want to feel this sense of compression in your low back. There is a lift to the belly, a release down the low back. Good. One more breath here. And then we're going to bring our hands on back down, and we are going to find lunge, remember. So to set up here to that pyramid, find your lunge first. So you might want to stay up on the chair back, or you might want to come down to the seat, or bring your hands to the blocks. And then lower that left foot now fully to the floor as both your legs start to straighten out. And remember, that back foot is still turned out a little bit. So you're letting yourself, again, come into the backs of your legs. Your thighs are lifting up towards your hips. See if you can feel a little engagement of your belly, but reach your tailbone back, which is actually kind of hard, right? So just be mindful. Stay there. You're more than welcome to fold over your leg if you want to, but you don't need to. You can stay with your back long. You can bend your elbows, let yourself come more over that leg if you feel like that feels even better, right? Good. One more breath. And now we're going to bend that right knee. We're coming back to that warrior one. So that's really kind of hard, actually. Using your core strength to lift you back up into hands at your heart. And then we'll release our arms down, and we're going to turn sideways on our mat again. So again, get your feet as wide as your shoulders, maybe even wider depending on you, right? And then bringing your hands down to the surface you want to use. And again, go ahead and bend a knee at a time just to give yourself a little relief. in the backs of the legs. And of course, you can take your time, get yourself set in the pose, bend both the knees if that feels good. Actually, let your knees bend and put your elbows above your knees for a second, if you can, if that's not too much, if it's not too low for you. And just enjoy that squat, right? Reaching back through your tailbone and nice length through the spine. And just softly bring your right shoulder a little bit like it's reaching towards your left foot. And then come back to center and do the other side. Just kind of come across a little bit. Don't make it big, right? So do that a couple of times. Just kind of shift the shoulder one way, the other. And then bring yourself down, either hands to the blocks or the floor. And we're going to walk over towards the right foot. Now maybe you want to just walk your blocks over towards the foot and be in front of it. Or maybe you want to hold on to the foot with your hands. You can always bring your hands onto your outside of your ankle or your foot. And then we'll come on back through center and we'll go the other side. So again, walking over. Again, you might want to stay kind of in front of your foot with your hands on blocks. You might want to bring your hands towards your foot and draw yourself towards that left leg. And then we'll come on back into center and walk your hands on back into center and set up again to be with your breath so that you don't feel any kind of stress, so that you really can let the upper body release as much as possible. Obviously, you have to be engaged in your lower body because you're standing up, right? But knees can be bent or straight. Imagine your inner thighs melting their way behind you. And then breathe. Just let your breath be so easy and full. And instead of imagining you're taking your breaths, imagine you're just receiving your breaths. Inhales and exhales equally important. Good. One more breath. And we're going to slowly think of rising up. So how you do that is up to you. And you know that. You can bring your hands to your thighs. You can get your feet closer before you come up if you want to. And then once you are up, walk around a little bit. And if you want to, you can turn to the tops of your toes a little. And we're going to come into Warrior Two this time. So we're going to step our right foot back, left foot forward, right foot back. And now, think of a line from that back right heel being drawn forward, straight forward, and that's about where your left heel wants to be. Your feet can be 2 feet apart, 3 feet apart, 4 feet apart, but bending this front knee, that's the issue. You don't want it to go out to cover your toes. You want to be able to look down and see your toes, right, and have that knee lined up with the center of your foot. We're going to float our arms straight on out from the shoulders. Go a little bit higher and drop your shoulders down. Let the hands go higher, but let your shoulders soften down. And then lower the hands enough to where you can look right out over the top of that left hand. Spread your fingers a little bit. Let yourself feel energy all the way out through the hands, both of them. Feel the feet gently pressing away from each other. And then bring your right hand on down to your hip. We're going to straighten the left leg out. Now bring your left hand a little forward and then lower it for triangle pose, which means you might just want to put it on the chair, right? You might want to put the hand down to your leg. You might want to lower the hand down lower onto the chair or a block. But the torso is extending out over this front leg. So you're not curving in your spine and dropping into that left side. And you can add the right arm up if you want to. So if you have your right arm straight up, you can enjoy opening up your shoulder a little more there, or if it bothers you, don't do it. Keep your hand on your hip. One more breath. And now bend your left knee. Come on back into your Warrior Two. Take your time. Feel really strong there. Good. Now let your hands come down. We're going to turn our feet parallel. We're still kind of wide. And bring our arms straight out beside you, a little bit higher than your shoulders. 5-pointed star. So see if you can feel like you're reaching up through the top of your head, feel equal through your feet. Now make sure, remember how we talked about tucking your tailbone forward? Make sure you're not doing that. Reach your tailbone back so that you're not tucking forward and the pelvis isn't tucking under you, right? And that's that alignment of the pelvis is so important. Okay, we're going to bring our hands down. Relax your arms for a second. Now, all you're going to do is turn your right toes now towards the short edge of your mat. We're coming into Warrior Two on the other side. So you guys are going to face where you came in, right? You're going to bend that right knee. If you need to adjust your stance, do. And then see about rising those arms straight on up, a little higher than your shoulders for a second, and drop your shoulders down. Let it feel good. Feel like you're reaching as far away from you as you can with your fingertips. And then lower the hand so you can look right over that hand and there's no stress in your neck. It feels good. Good. One more breath. Warrior Two. Press the feet away from each other like you're trying to lengthen your mat. And then bring your left hand down to your hip. Straighten your right leg out. And bring your right hand forward a little bit and then down for triangle. Maybe just onto your thigh, right? Thighs are lifting up towards the hips, lengthening out over your leg there. Adding that left arm straight up is totally up to you if you want to do that or not. Don't do it if it feels not good in your shoulder. And then we're going to bend the right knee. We're going to come on back into Warrior Two again. So bringing those arms on out from the shoulder. Good. And let your hands come on down. Turn your feet again parallel so you get your toes facing forward. Find that 5-pointed star again. So really reaching out through the fingertips. Let the arms be just a little bit higher than your shoulders. They're not really too high. Let the palms face down if you can. Good. And then release your arms on down. Now, walk your feet together. Stay facing the direction you are, okay? And then give yourself a hug with your left arm over on top of your right. Give yourself a hug. Your knees can bend a little bit if that feels better. Try not to lock your knees. You can stay right there hugging. If that feels really good, you can bring your chin down too and turn your head a little side to side. Those of you who like wrapping your arms into an eagle wrap, you can release your shoulders and send the backs of your hands towards each other, towards the midline. You can do the final wrap of your right fingers into your left palm if you want. But release, feel that length in the back of your neck and throat. Good. Let your elbows come on down. Release your arms on down beside you. And then inhale your arms up into a T position and bring your right arm on top of your left to give a hug. So hugging the other arm on top. And again, if you can put your chin down, if you can let your head move around a little bit. You know, and if you find a really tight spot, you know, oftentimes it's not even the neck. It's up into between your shoulder blade and your spine. If you find a space you need to stay and hang out, do. And of course you can stay here, or you can bring your gaze back forward, and if you want to release your shoulders, you can send the backs of your hands towards each other. You don't have to go far, right? You might just want to go a little ways. You might want to put your left fingers on that right palm if you like that full eagle wrap. Again, releasing here. It's what we're focusing on, not adding tension, letting go as best we can. Nice. And then go ahead and let your arms come on down and shake them out a little bit. Do what you need to do. Walk around if you need to. Move through your feet. We are going to keep our mats here where they are. But everybody needs to go where they can either put their hand on a wall somewhere for a little tree pose or a chair. You can, if you want to stay on your mat, you can use your chair, right? That's up to you. So get your left hand towards whatever you're using for support. So either your left hand on the wall or your chair, and then shift your weight to your left foot, and at first, just bring your right heel into the inside of your ankle. So your toes are on the floor, maybe the ball of the feet, maybe just the toes. It depends on you. And see if from there, if you can bring your hands to your heart and you can balance. So you've got a little bit broader base than if you're just on your foot, right? It's still not an easy balance. You got to lift up through the front of that left supporting leg. Now, if you want to put your hand back on the wall and lift your foot up to the inside of your calf, you can. And if you don't want to do that, don't do it. Keep your toes down. Or if you do that and you're like, okay, well, I'm never letting go of the wall doing this, you don't have to, right? And part of the ticket is trying to find a place where you can focus. And that's hard when somebody's in front of you wobbling around, right? So you can either kind of look up above their head, or you can look down. I used to balance better looking about 5 feet in front of me on the floor. That was really my balance spot for a very long time. And it worked. Whatever works. We're going to come down, shake it out, move through that left leg you were standing on. All we're going to do is turn around. We're going to do the other side. So again, you're standing on your right foot. The left heel comes into the inside of your ankle, so you have like your toes or the ball of the foot on the floor. It's a broader base. It doesn't mean that it's easy to bring your hands to your heart, though, because if you sit back into this hip, it ain't going to work, right? You're going to fall over. You got to lift up in the front of the right hip, letting your hands come to your heart. Let yourself just enjoy. And you don't have to do anything more than that. If you feel like you want to bring your foot to your inner calf, do. You can have your hand on the wall or the chair. You can play it, bringing your hands to your heart or bringing your arms up overhead, too, if you want. You know that. If you feel like you want to play a little bit in tree pose, do it. Remember, it's the tailbone reaching down. Still don't want to tuck that tailbone up under you, right? Really changes the posture. Good. And then come on down. Let yourself release. And those of you with the wall, just put your hands on the wall and step back into a brief little down dog. You can be on fingertips or hands. And Linda, you and I can just use the chair just like this, which is like a kitchen counter at home, which is an awesome dog to me. It's a wonderful stretch. And at the wall, just make sure, and your chair too, that your feet are under your hips. So you want to be like a capital letter L. And you can bend your knees, right? I mean, you can bend your knees in this dog really a lot. But it feels so good to lengthen out your spine. And if your legs can be straight, that's fine too. Just enjoy coming into that flat back. Nice. That's it. Do them at home at your kitchen counter. Really, really, it's a really great pose to do. Finish off that. Walk on back into the wall. And let's actually come on down onto our mats on our bellies on the floor. So, take your time. You can just move your chairs off to the side. Fine. And we'll come on down and let yourself make a little pillow with your hands. Rest your forehead on your hands if you're comfortable to do that, and then bend your knees. And let your feet circle around. You might even, want to let your lower legs come from one side to the other like windshield wiper blades. So you can do the windshield wiper blades that go the same way at the same time, or the ones that go apart and back in. I like to open my feet to the side and then cross my ankles and open and cross different ways, so that I just release. That really releases my hips the best. We're all different. Good. So finish off the one you're on. Go ahead and stretch your legs on back long and come to the tops of your feet. And let yourself come on up with your elbows pretty close to under your shoulders for a Sphinx pose. If this bothers your back, stay lower. Slide your elbows down more towards your waist, or even up like this. And that depends on your shoulders too, right? So if you're fine to be up here with your elbows under your shoulders, let yourself just slightly engage your belly so that you're protecting your back. But if it, most of the time this pose is okay for most people. Good. So now once you're there, bring your hands together and clasp them. Send your pinky finger out. And then bend your knees again and lift your hips up. So there you are in a half forearm plank. So you're on the flesh above your knees. You're not pressing into your kneecaps. And it's really, really good core work for the belly. If you try to pretend that you're pulling yourself forward and you actually feel that motion of trying to pull yourself towards the front of the mat, then your belly goes even crazier. So you can let yourself find a little bit of core work there. If you want to do a full forearm plank, go for it. If you want to put your feet down and lift your knees up, you can come into a full forearm plank here. Or again, you can keep your knees down. Good. One more breath wherever you are. And then release. Come on back down. And if you can, stretch your arms now towards the front corners of your mat and rest your forehead on the floor. And now see about widening your feet out too a little bit. So they're kind of reaching towards the corners of your mat down there at your feet. So you're kind of like a little X in a way, right? Now from here, just lift your head barely off the floor. So your nose barely clears the floor, depending on the size of your nose, I guess. And then let yourself lower your head back down. Take a breath into your low back. So you feel your low back expand. Good. And now, if you can, next time you inhale, let your right arm and left leg float up a little bit. And your head and your chest will come up a little too. And then lower that back down. It's a diagonal line across your body. Now we're going to do the left arm, the right leg. Inhaling up. And on the exhale, letting yourself come back down. Try again, right arm, left leg. Inhaling up, opposite arm and leg. And then come back down. And then just switch again, opposite arm and leg, inhale up. And then release and let yourself come down. Let your arms come down alongside your body right now. Turn your palms up towards the ceiling and turn your left cheek towards the floor. Now, this seems like it shouldn't be that big a deal. Oftentimes our necks get in the way here, though, I have to say. Often one side is a lot more challenging than the other. So this might be your good side, it might not. If it feels really uncomfortable, see if you can kind of change the position of your head. Like you can tuck your chin down lower, or you can lift up and maybe get more towards your ear being on the floor. That usually helps me. And breathe into your low back. Deep, full breaths. Good. Now, the challenge is to lift up easily and turn your head the other way. And again, this might not be the easiest side. It might be the easier side for you. You're probably going to tell a difference, though. So take your time. Let yourself release there. Again, if you need to kind of change the angle of your head, do. Breathing into your low back. Good. And then we're going to come on back into center again. And now we're going to come back up into that Sphinx pose, bringing our elbows under our shoulders. Take your time, spread your fingers nice and wide. And then bend both your knees and flex your feet. Now, it might not mean that your feet come very high up. If it starts to kind of stretch your back out to pull your heels in, then really engage your belly deeper. And actually, you might even, like the belly might float up off the floor a little bit. And that's fine. You know, you don't want to put pressure into your low back. You can press kind of down into your thighs a little bit. Feel that sense of engaging. Good. Now come on back to long legs, and we're going to shift back towards pose of a child. So, everybody's different for child's pose. Knees don't always want to bend that deeply. You can kind of stay up to your forearms like this and release with your hips up in the air. Or you can, if it feels fine, to shift your hips back more. You can release slowly back so that you feel okay to be where you are. And breathe into your low back. All right, so the back is, again, getting a nice release here. Good. One more nice full breath. And now to come up, let your hands come where you need them, by your knees maybe, to press up. We're going to come on around to sitting, and we're going to let our legs stretch out in front of us. And Let yourself be easy so you can move around, wiggle your legs around, your feet around a little bit. And then, if you want to sit up on a blanket, let's cross left ankle above or below the right knee. So you can be down low without a big, huge, bend in your knee here, or you can come in to where you're right above your knee. So let your right leg be directly forward of your hip, and you've got this figure 4. So, sitting up nice and tall here, we're going to twist to our left hand behind you. Bring your right hand around maybe to your knee, and let yourself enjoy coming into this twist. And if you feel like really a lot more open and twisting than you did at the beginning of class, you might even want to turn to look a little more behind yourself. But don't force it. Look to the side if that's better. Just be mindful. We all do have to back up cars, however, so it's kind of a good thing to think about looking back behind yourself. One more breath. And as we exhale, we'll come on back. We're going to go all the way into the other direction on the twist. So now, again, as you come into this twist, see if you can flex through that left foot, right? Feel that flexion of the right foot as well. And also feel your right heel, that long leg, the heel, drawing down towards you and back a little bit. One more inhale. And on the exhale, use your belly to come on back, and we're going to switch legs. So all we're going to do is bring that right ankle either above or below the knee. And again, flex through the feet and feel that left heel on the ground, and your toes and your knee of that left leg are facing up. Inhaling here. And on the exhale, we'll twist to our right, bringing your right hand behind you, your left hand, if possible, to that right knee. And then again, just enjoy feeling that sense of releasing into your twist, looking as far to the side or behind yourself as you want. One more inhale. And on our exhale, we'll come on back around, all the way back around to the other side. So again, just enjoy finding that twist in the middle of the back. Good. One more inhale. And let your exhale bring you on back into center. We're going to stretch our legs on out, and we're going to come down to our backs, but before you go down, get your strap, okay? And then let yourself release onto your back. Bring your knees in towards your chest. If you can, when you bring your knees in, cross your ankles, like one ankle be on top of the other one. If that's uncomfortable, don't do it, right? Now you can stay just right there, just letting yourself rest with your thighs towards the outside of your ribs, right? Some of you might want to reach around the outside of your legs and hold your feet, right? I mean, if that feels good in your low back, it feels good. If it doesn't feel good, don't do it. And of course, you might not be able to reach those feet, and that's okay too, right? So let's switch the cross of the legs, switch the cross of the ankles. Again, just let the legs kind of release so your low back is into the floor. And then again, you might want to reach around your legs, the outside of your legs, and get hold of your feet, or you might not. Good. And then we're going to release. Bring your feet to the floor and get your strap. And unroll that strap and just make sure you don't bang yourself in the head if you have a metal one, okay? We're going to put the right foot into the ball of the right foot, into the strap. And try to kind of even your strap out just because it makes it easier, right? Get it right across the base of your big toe mound and your little toe mound. Bend your right knee, like quite a lot. And you might want to just stay right there with your knee bent and let yourself just release there into the back of the leg and your back. If you feel good to stretch your left leg down long on the floor, do it. If that doesn't work for you, don't do it. And now take your time. Knee can stay a little bit bent in this pose, or you can come into straighter leg. You might even want to let the leg come farther away from you. and let the leg come straight if that feels good. You know, you don't want to pull on your leg. Don't feel like you're trying to pull the leg in towards you. Just try to let yourself feel the weight of your arms and let that just help the back of the leg to open up. Good. Just breathe and release. And then we'll take both ends of the strap into our right hand. Put your left hand on top of your left hip there and open the leg a little to the right. It doesn't have to be very far. You do want to stay grounded on that left side, right? So it's almost like if you're standing up, you'd be standing on that left foot. You don't want the hip to pop way up off the floor. And then bring the leg back up to the top. Switch to bring your left hand over to the straps and then cross the leg over to the left a little bit. Stretch your right arm out on the floor beside you. And for this stretch, you can stay right there with your right hip on the floor. Feel free to do that. It's a really intense outer, the IT band stretch, the outside of your leg. Or you can continue over more to the left, releasing the right hip off the floor if you choose to. Only you know what these twists feel like for you. So be mindful. And another thing that changes how it feels is how far you have your leg in towards your body. You know, if you lower the leg down, it feels very different than if you have the leg up closer to you. So you can play a little bit. Good. One more breath. And then we're going to bring the leg back up to the top. And all we're going to do is switch legs. So the left leg comes up, foot comes into the strap. Put the right foot on the floor at first. And then bend your knee. Just be really mindful. Take your time. Let it feel good. Feel your hip. And of course, that extension of that right leg down on the floor is optional. You can keep the knee bent. And if straightening that left leg out a little bit more feels good to you. But again, don't feel like you're pulling. You do not want to get the sensation that you're trying to pull the leg. You don't want to feel anything at your hamstring attachment, which is your sitting bone, right? That's where your hamstring attaches. You just want to get a nice ease in the back of the leg. Let's bring both ends of the strap into the left hand and let the leg open to the left at first a little bit. Stay grounded in that right side. Good, and then bring it on back up to the top. And we're going to switch hands on the strap. Let the right hand get the straps, left arm out beside you on the floor. And again, as you come to the right with that leg, you may want to go just, 3 inches. Sometimes it's more intense to go 3 inches than it is to lower the leg all the way down towards the floor, right? So you can play, let yourself be mindful, and don't go any farther than you want to. Good. One more breath here. And now bringing the leg on back up. Go ahead and take your strap off and put both your feet on the floor for a second now. And then widen your feet out and let your knees come from one side to the other. And it doesn't matter how far down towards the ground your knees go. You may want your knees to just barely shift right to left. Or you might want to go all the way down towards the ground and let yourself release there. Just start to pay attention to how your body feels right now. What does your body naturally want to do? And that could be anything. You may feel like you want to bring your knees into your chest, do a little happy baby pose, or let yourself bring the soles of your feet towards each other. You may want to stretch your legs and your arms up in the air, right? Or you might want to do something entirely different. A bridge pose sounds good. Any kind of movement, if you just want to wiggle around. Take your time because we're getting ready to try to let ourselves be really comfortable for Shavasana. So force yourself to do anything. Follow kind of the natural inclination of your body. And that, that's really how you end up doing some yoga at home, is when you realize that you know your body better than anybody else. So when you find the poses, the movements that help you, and then maybe even if you spend 5 minutes at home doing some stretching or yoga poses. I'm starting to get the lights here at the studio because it really helps to have dim lights. And then of course what else helps is support for some of us for Shavasana, so that we can relax better, our hips feel better, our back feel better. So I know a few people here who like bolsters under their knees. Wave at me as I come by. Or lift your legs up in the air. That's a good way to do it. So take your time to start. And if you stretch out and you're like, I really want to stretch out, but you get there and you're like, I don't really think I'm going to be comfortable there. I'll get both of you there. There you go. Hold on, I'll come back. Don't give up on me. I'm bringing bolsters around. If you're at home and you don't have a bolster, you can use a rolled blanket. Good spot. Watch your heels up there. How's that? Okay. All right. Good. So let yourself just relax into the ground. Feel that support of the ground underneath you. And just enjoy as you accept your breath, just receiving your breaths in and out. And the breath will change. You might feel like your breath becomes a little more shallow, but when you come back with your awareness to your breath, you need to breathe in deeper, and that's fine. It's like watching the waves of the ocean. You're not trying to change the waves when you watch them. You're just finding that peacefulness that comes with that ebb and flow. And just give your body and your brain a little bit of time here to get whatever they need from all you did. And all you have to do is allow yourself to completely and fully relax. wanting to move again, see if you can let your extremities lead you, your fingers and your toes, your hands, your feet. You know, you may even want to circle your hands and feet around, your wrists, your ankles. Let your arms and legs, when you're ready, do what you need to do. If you need to stretch, do. If you feel like bringing your knees in towards your chest, take your time. You know that anytime, if you're comfortable to roll onto either your right or your left side, you can roll onto your side with your knees soft. You might even want to use your arm as a pillow or a blanket if you have one there, just to rest comfortably on your side, if that gives you a good way to transition so that you give your body and your brain a little time to adjust. That way, when you do feel like you're ready to rise up, it feels a little more natural to let yourself keep your eyes closed if you can, so you stay inwardly focused and get comfortable in how you're sitting. So if you need to stretch your legs out, if you need to grab something to sit on, a bolster or a blanket, do. But once you are seated, just feel like your head is just floating up there on top again now. Feel the lightness in your head and the length of your spine. Feel your breath coming in and going out through your nose again, so that you feel that ease of the breath coming into the belly. And on your next exhale, let your hands come gently to meet there in front of your chest. And wishing each one of you a very joyful day. Namaste.